Welcome to the technical analysis of the euro dollar and pound USD of this 17th February. First though, be aware of this disclaimer. Please pause the video to read the entire risk disclaimer. Let's start with the daily chart. First of all, I want to show you this big daily candle on the euro dollar. Huge bullish candle, in fact, with the close near the high. That's indicating bullish strength, that the bulls were in control throughout the day and that they held control till the end of the day. The close was just a couple of pips away here. Otherwise, the candle itself is pretty lengthy. It is basically from low to high, about 80 pips. Not a bad candle there. So compared to the rest of the candles, relatively big. Of course, absolutely speaking, it's not a fantastic, massive candle, but relatively speaking, compared to the downside that we've seen in the last week or so, this is eating up about 3 bearish candles. So relatively speaking, on the larger side. Of course, before that, we had a big pin bar here with a wick on the bottom. That led to yesterday's bullish price action. I was keeping an eye on the hourly chart at the -272 target, and price did eventually break above it, and that's why I was saying that yesterday there's an intraday potential for price to move up to the next target, and perhaps even the next target. It's more or less settled and stopped at the -61.8 target. So let's talk about today. Bullish day yesterday, so I do think that today will be basically a retracement of yesterday, but there could be support along the way. Today is Friday, which makes it basically a difficult day to trade because you have positions being closed and it's known as a reversal day. So I don't trade on Fridays. I don't like to trade on Fridays that much unless something really, really interesting catches my attention. It is still potential intraday trades, of course, possible. Swing trades, I don't advise because holding over the weekend, I don't think makes sense. Better to wait for Monday next week. So, considering the fact that it's Friday, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a triangle build. For instance, now we see already the bearish move start to retrace part of this bullish momentum that has led to 2 bullish days. This blue circle represents 2 bullish daily candles, and we're seeing a bit of retracement of that because of the break of the channel and the break of the -272 target that we talked about and this bottom. I think that we're going to see a bigger bullish correction. Whether the bullish correction is part of an ABC like this and price will still hit resistance and move down from there, or whether this is actually still a larger bullish correction, that remains to be seen. But in both scenarios, as you can see, I think there's a good chance that price will use this particular fib for a bullish bounce. That means that price could test the 50, 61.8, 78.6 fib, for instance, and use that to move up to the -272 target or the -61.8 target. That also means that there is potential space to move lower to test those fibs. So the 2 main trade ideas I see at this moment is a bounce back to retest the top, but a failure and a move down to the 50 fib, maybe a pause at the 38, and a bullish bounce at one of these 3 fibs for a move up to these targets. So at this moment, price has arrived at the 23.6 fib. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bounce here, a bit of a bullish bounce for a couple of pips. I'm not interested in this bounce because I think there's a good chance that price will move up just a few pips and then run into resistance and make a zigzag downwards to the 38.2 fib, which is the first target. Maybe make a bear flag. If it makes a bear flag, there could be an extension down to the 50 fib and perhaps even the 61.8. After which I would expect a bounce. Now, the bounce at the 61.8 is something I don't think will happen today. I think that that is something for next week, on Monday perhaps, or Tuesday. This basically rejection here and the ABC zigzag, I think, might happen today indeed. So 50-minute chart, let's see how it responds. You see price already kind of bouncing there. Let's see if it makes some kind of bear flag, for instance, or it makes some zigzag up in here. That could be interesting. Now, if it doesn't find rejection, and instead there is a V-valley bounce and it goes all of a sudden like this, right? Could happen. That's why I'm keeping an eye on how price responds to the 106.65, 106.75 area. If there's strong candles, hourly candles that remain visible and start to break above this top, then of course I'm not expecting that zigzag anymore. The zigzag only occurs if I see some hourly candles, 30-minute candles with exhaustion and bouncing at the resistance spot. If those candles remain strong and you see a bounce like this and you see a break above this top, then of course price could go up to the minus 272 target within this space. Next week, maybe even extending that, perhaps. The other scenario is if price breaks this bottom right away. So you only have a small little bear flag on a 50-minute chart like this, like that, then there could be the immediate breakthrough. It's not a big space, it's only about 20 pips, so it's a bit difficult to trade. It depends. I would rather have the bear flag go like this, then there's a bit more space. If it goes too flat, there's not much space to trade this. Ultimately, though, I'm looking for price to get back to roughly this first or second level, and then to move up to the fourth level. We can put a fib. Let's get rid of this fib, or let's keep that one on and just add a fib from here to here. And ultimately, if it does make this ABC zigzag, bullish zigzag, right, minus 272 target and minus 61.8 target, let me redraw that again, are very interesting resistance spots, because this could be a wave 1, 2 if it is a blue ABC. This could be a red 1, red 2, and we could go down for a red 3. So the most interesting, I think, of them all, even more interesting than this tiny little wave B trade, which is really very small, or the wave B bounce for wave C. The most interesting of it all is the end of the blue C for completing red 2, because in that case, it could be the start of red 3. All right, pound USD. Talked about how price was here and that it has little space before it hits the resistance, and it should react to it. There should be a bull flag or even a rejection back down. Remember? So indeed, price stopped at that resistance line, didn't break it the entire day, and price was respecting that line. So anyone who took some shorts in here as candlestick patterns, wicks emerged, is doing fine at this moment, and the trade is up in plus. Was yesterday up in plus. We got a hook back that failed to break, in fact, and is bouncing as we speak. And I'm expecting an ABC zigzag back down. I'm expecting at this moment a rejection off that trend line, and I'm expecting this to occur back to the minus 61.8 target. I think that from this perspective, you can see that the zigzag nicely lines up with, for instance, the minus 100 target and the 78.6 fib and the blue trend line. That could be a bouncing spot, as discussed yesterday, and then perhaps now price will break above the orange, or not now, but then will break above the orange resistance trend line. All right, so one idea is to take a look for longs at 124, 124.25, even 124.50. Anywhere in that zone, I think I'm looking for some reaction of an hourly, 4-hour perhaps, and maybe not even today, but preferably beginning next week. And there could be, of course, alternatively, a triangle here. If that happens, the breakout is interesting. If price moves down and stops here like this, the breakout could be interesting. So I'm not a big fan of shorting it. The moving averages are fully on top of each other, which means that breakout trades are dangerous. I'm not interested to trade it to the downside, even though I think it could get down in here because of the fact that it could become a triangle. And there's only a little bit of space before it hits the triangle. The only shorts that were interesting were at the resistance trend line, even the hook back. Now it's too late. It's too close to the bottom of the triangle. So I think it's wait and see till it gets down here or till it breaks above for upside. Downside is only interesting, in my opinion, if the larger formation on the 4-hour chart were to break to the downside here, and we get a break of this support trend line like this, and then there's space down to the 61, perhaps 78.6 fib. Thank you so much. Wish you all great trading. Talk to you soon.